Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. The animenomi is the most mysterious fruit ever demonstrated in One Piece, and it has many hidden powers that may not have even been revealed yet. And it's also a very peculiar fruit because it lacks some of the Logia's very telltale characteristics. It has been said by Teach that this is the most powerful Logia fruit that exists because besides possessing the power to manipulate darkness, it possesses techniques that no other devil fruit possesses, and it is these techniques that make the fruit invincible. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the techniques that the animenomi possesses, how powerful this Logia could be, and about the hidden technique that this fruit possesses that might be able to absorb the sun. But before diving into that darkness, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing the video or the channel with a friend. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The animenomi, also known as the darkness fruit, is described by Teach as the most powerful Logia in existence. And Teach had planned long ago several ways to get this fruit, but ended up with a pretty big opportunity that arose right in front of him. Whitebeard invited Teach to become a member of his crew, and then becoming one of his sons. Now obviously Teach accepted because if he was on the crew of one of the most powerful pirates in that era, it'd be easier to find the fruit because they'd be able to move around. So once he was there on the crew, he then started laying out his plans. After a few years of traveling and pretending to be an ally of the Whitebeard pirates, Teach discovers something. One of his crewmates had obtained the animenomi, but there was a rule in the crew. It was only the person who got the devil fruit that would be allowed to eat it. So because of this reason, Teach couldn't just take it for himself, but since he wanted this fruit so badly, he took the life of Thatch and then ran away, leaving all of the Whitebeard pirates extremely angry at him, especially Whitebeard himself, who ended up ordering Ace to go after the traitor. Once Ace had caught up to Teach, he was able to demonstrate how powerful this supposed fruit of darkness was, and also that his fruit didn't work in the same way as an ordinary Logia. It possessed a great differential from the others. Blackbeard's fruit allowed him to spread darkness over a large area, just like other Logia fruit, but the darkness itself had no effect on his enemies other than Logia of fire and ice, lava, and snow, among other elements. Of course, covering an area with darkness was just one of the first stages of his real power. Once Teach covered a place or a person with this darkness, he could then send that living being or object into another dimension that he considered a dark dimension, in which only Teach had control over. No one could enter or leave. Only Teach has control over this dimension, which allows him to decide who will enter, leave, and what will happen to the person inside this dimension of darkness. Now at this point, we don't know if Teach is able to keep the person trapped as long as he wants or if there's a limit, but it is shown that he's able to send many things into this dimension, kind of swallowing up buildings and other materials. In fact, during his fight with Ace, we saw him eat up several buildings, and it didn't really seem that it kind of caused him any pain or suffered any disadvantage, because he could move freely. It's like this mass just wasn't even attached to him. At this point, there may even be the possibility that Teach himself could somehow go into this shadow dimension, because it seems that at least the objects and the people that go in there don't suffer any consequences while they're in that dimension. Aside from absorbing objects, Teach is also able to throw objects that he's absorbed back into the current dimension as a projectile. But the people who are sucked up into this dimension are really at Teach's mercy, and he can kind of pretty much seem to do anything to them, like torture them or even hurt them inside this dimension. We don't know if he can take the lives of people that are in this dimension or use the dimension to take their lives because we haven't seen it yet. But it could be possible that while he's in there, they're hurt because we have seen him bring people back that are totally hurt and in shock from having been into that dimension. The animenomi also seems to have some kind of ability to attract objects, because as it spreads its darkness over something, it can instantly be teleported into the user's hand. Teach demonstrated this ability during his fight with Ace, where even from a distance, he managed to make his shadows reach Ace and pull him directly to his hand, without Ace really having time to react to this attack. It's also not known if this attraction kind of works with objects or everything, because we've only seen it really used with humans and, things that have just been absorbed. But if his shadow could expand and work on the same way, he could particularly get anything he wants. Now, because we saw Teach kind of early on, I mean, we're talking pre-time skip, we saw him at a point where he didn't have full control of his fruit, or maybe, hadn't been fully nurtured all the way up. But at this point, Teach may be able to, pull and throw and move objects anywhere he wants, kind of maybe not to the degree of, say, Law's room ability, but definitely anything that his darkness touches can go through there. But one of the things that we also have to consider is that as Teach has developed his powers, we have no idea how trickily he can use this fruit. But with all this ability, there is a major drawback that Teach also acknowledges, is that unlike other Logias that are able to become the substance they control and become intangible, Teach's body is totally exposed to any hits, and even ones that don't use Haki, because it's almost like he has something quite to the extreme opposite of intangibility. Teach's darkness absorbs anything that it comes in contact with, so that means the darkness of Teach's body also absorbs the attacks of his enemies. But instead of sending the attack into another dimension, it's the user who receives the damage. And to add insult to injury, or rather injury to injury, when Teach is hit, he not only takes the damage from the actual strike, but this damage is multiplied, causing Teach to receive much more pain than he would have if he'd just taken the hit. This makes the damage absorption of this fruit a really big disadvantage to the user, which kind of makes Teach a little bit more fragile against any source of damage, be it from fruit powers or just straight up physical attacks. But despite this drawback, it also possesses one of the most powerful techniques that seems to be exclusive to this fruit. You see, the animenomi allows the user to annul the power of any other fruit user. Anything Blackbeard touches can be nullified. Against devil fruit users, this becomes extremely powerful because your opponent can do absolutely nothing against it. And what's worse, this power is absolute. There is no way that you can escape from this technique once you are touched. And Teach has demonstrated that he can nullify any opponent with this ability. During Blackbeard's fight against Ace, he was easily able to nullify the power of his Flame fruit just when he touched Ace. And even Ace started to feel unable to defeat him because of this secret technique that he had just revealed. Teach even showed that he was able to nullify the power of the Fruit of the Sun God, a fruit considered kind of legendary by the Gorosei, because just by touching Luffy during the Battle of Marineford, he was able to nullify the rubber body of him, causing Luffy to fall directly to ground and suffer all the damage of the impact in which his rubber body was supposed to cushion the fall. I mean, this is one of those things that Luffy does, is he's kind of bouncy, but with Teach's effect, he hit the ground just like he would have been flesh and bone as he was. Even onlookers and other Marines were extremely surprised by this incredible power of Teach, because he's able to cancel and absorb anything. And if he was even able to absorb the very sun that Ace made during their fight, who knows what else he can do with it now. So this darkness of his would be like the perfect defense, absorbing and nullifying anything it touches, but its user is completely vulnerable to attack. There have been several theories out there in the community that have thought about what may be the weakness of this power, and one of them is based on sunlight. And it said that this fruit that has the power of darkness, its natural environment would therefore be kind of used during the night. But if it was daytime and the environment were totally illuminated, the power of this darkness fruit might be weakened. And as we know, each element has a weakness, as we saw during Luffy's fight against Crocodile when he used water, and Enel, of course, because Luffy is a insulator and not something that is conductive to electricity. So if we take this darkness idea kind of a little further, it could be that Teach's body is only solid during the day, which is when he receives increased damage to his body. But even during the day, he can still project his own darkness to attack his enemies. But think about what it could be when it turns dark. And it's very likely that Teach's real power emerges at night, because that's the time when there's no light to weaken Blackbeard's powers, which allows him to manifest the full power of his shadow. A scene that supports this idea is that when he was in Marineford, after succeeding in taking Whitebeard's life, Teach orders his allies to cover Whitebeard's body so that only darkness remains around his body. Teach then goes under the cloth and was in total darkness, and uses his powers to steal the power of the Goro no Mi that was still in Whitebeard's body. Now, we don't know if Teach managed to steal the powers through his Yami no Mi, or if it was through some other technique or power he might possess. But everything indicates that it is likely the fruit of darkness that allowed him to steal that power. Therefore, it's not that far-fetched of an idea that getting under the cloth allowed no light to reach him, and then he was able to use all of his powers of the darkness fruit. And since it is a fruit of darkness that absorbs anything, living beings, objects, powers, perhaps in this absolute darkness, the user can absorb anything its heart desires. And if we think about what this could mean in the future, perhaps this darkness fruit might even have the ability to absorb a large light source that the user makes, allowing their shadow to overlap the light just like Teach managed to do with Ace's son. So nearing the end of our story, this may be the fruit that can match the power of the Sun God fruit, being able to nullify Luffy's power now that he has his awakening. Now, while Luffy represents hope through his light, Teach represents hopelessness through his darkness. Teach has a great power in his hands that may, in fact, be another legendary fruit just like Luffy's, because not even the Gorosei seem to know the real potential of this fruit. The only one who really knows what this fruit is capable of is Teach, who has literally spent his entire life in search of obtaining this power, capable of absorbing anything he desires, becoming someone invincible. But for now, we'd love to know what you think about this. Do you think that basically Teach's fruit is some kind of mythical fruit or something that is a match to Luffy's? And also, why do you think he had to cover, himself when he was stealing Whitebeard's power? Was it because in the darkness he can do anything he wants, or was it something else at work? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So friends, as we wrap things up, I want to thank you so much for watching the video all the way up to the very end. Be sure to comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.